Hello, and welcome to the 5th bonus episode of Chorus Place. I'm so glad you've chosen to join me for today's conversation. In today's episode, I'll be talking about my favorite day and week of working at the camp, why they were my favorite, and then I will also be talking about my favorite meals and favorite jobs and tasks. As always, if you like what you hear, please leave a review and/or comments, follow my podcast, and tell your friends. Also, please follow the podcast page I've made on Facebook. If you'd like to contact me via email instead of a Facebook message, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org. If you are new here, welcome. I'm your host, Cora, and I'm so excited to have you on this journey with me. Today, I want to talk to you about my favorite day/week of working at the camp and why they were my favorite. After that, I want to talk to you about my favorite meals and my favorite job and task. Before I get into the episode, I have a quick disclaimer to share with all of you. I was originally planning to make this series 8 weeks long, but as I was trying to write some of the episodes, I thought maybe it would just be a little easier to combine some of my topics. I decided doing it that way would be easier as I may not have as much to talk about with some topics that I would with other topics. Due to that, I have decided to make it only 6 weeks long instead of 8 weeks so I can make it a little easier for myself to get these episodes out. Plus, I could still share my camp experience without having to stress about adding things and making the episodes have a lower quality as far as content goes. I want to share my camp experience, and I feel the easiest and best way that I could do that at this point is by combining some of my topics so that I wasn't struggling as much to come up with content for some parts of the series. It also just made more sense to combine some topics so that way all the episodes were about the same length and I wasn't sacrificing the quality of the content within the episodes. I don't want to sacrifice the content of the episodes. It is important to me that I make the episodes as high quality as I am able to, whether that is in my editing or in my content. Now, let's get into the episode. First up in today's episode is talking about my favorite day/week. I honestly had several favorite days over the summer, sometimes either because of a fun activity we did at camp during the week, just hanging out with people, or when we would go do stuff on weekends. I loved when we get to go out on weekends, to go to different stores, go out to get coffee, grab food from a fast food restaurant, when we get to go to chapel with the campers during the week, or when the staff would be able to buy ice cream and other things from the canteen after it closed for campers. My favorite combination for ice cream and toppings was either chocolate or twist ice cream with Butterfinger pieces and M&Ms. Sometimes I would just get Butterfinger in my ice cream, but it would depend. I discovered over the summer that I absolutely love Butterfinger, either on its own or in ice cream, and that I am slightly obsessed with them. It's definitely a favorite candy of mine. I still enjoy other candies too, but the only toppings available to put on top of my ice cream, unless I bought something separately, were Oreo cookies, crushed Butterfinger, or M&Ms. My favorite week of working at camp was probably our family camp, since the work was a little easier during the week, since we didn't have as much cleaning to do until all the families left. That week was 4th of July week, so that was a lot of fun. The staff got to go to fireworks with all the families, and we got to attend chapel in the evenings with the families too. The staff also ate with the families for some meals too. That made cleaning a little easier because then we could just do all of it at once, instead of the staff eating, cleaning up, the families eating, and then cleaning up again. I also definitely enjoyed getting to go to chapel any chance we could over the summer. I enjoyed our devotions that we did together as a staff in the evening, but I also loved chapel because of the music and the teaching. It was nice to be able to do different things for our devotions. Whether that was sitting downstairs in the retreat center/staff lounge, watching The Chosen during our last week together, sitting outside one time, or whenever we would go to chapel. I think my favorite thing for our evening devotions was either watching The Chosen or going to chapel. There wasn't anything wrong with sitting outside or down in the retreat center/staff lounge, but I just didn't find those places quite as fun for me. That may be because I enjoy music and teaching, and we didn't have music for our staff devotions. Unless the music for chapel time for the campers played while we were in the staff lounge, since there was a speaker in there. When that happened, we usually had to pause our devotions since the music was a little loud in the speaker, and that made it hard to do our devotions. I liked the book we went through as a staff though. It is a really good book and has a year's worth of devotionals. Sometimes we did a couple of the devotionals a night because they were pretty short. We also went through it in the mornings for our personal devotions. With our personal devotions, we usually just sat at the tables in the dining hall while doing a devotional or two out of the book, and then we would pray as a group of 2 or 3. Sometimes we'd split up into a single group of girls and a single group of boys, or we would just pray all together as one big group. We switched it up a lot, and that was good, so then we were able to do different combinations of people and didn't do the same exact thing every day. The second thing I want to discuss today is my favorite meals from over the summer. My favorite foods that we had for meals at the camp were cereal for breakfast, chicken sandwiches, a chicken patty between 2 halves of a hamburger bun, macaroni and cheese, hot dogs, French toast sticks, grilled chicken, spaghettironi, which is basically spaghetti, but with macaroni noodles / elbow pasta instead of long noodles, breadsticks, hamburgers, French fries, chicken noodle casserole, like tuna noodle casserole, but with chicken instead of tuna, green beans, corn, scones, cinnamon rolls, usually just on Saturday mornings when all the campers left, pizza, especially when we got it for the staff from a local place that is close to the camp, toast, mashed potatoes with gravy, bacon strips, sausage links or patties, chicken nuggets, chocolate pudding, sloppy joes, and biscuits and gravy. The staff even got steaks a couple of times. We had other foods for meals too, but the ones I listed were some of my favorites. As I wrote this episode, I kind of sensed a theme for the meals we had at camp. That theme was lots of chicken in several different forms, whether that was nuggets, patties, chicken noodle casserole, grilled, etc. As far as desserts would go, we would usually have ice cream sandwiches or bars, cheesecake with or without cherries, chocolate chip cookies / bars, or sometimes cake. We did the same meals pretty regularly, so it was sometimes easy to figure out what we were having at each meal, but I think we also switched some meals around occasionally, so we would do different meals on different days. My favorite things to put on the chicken sandwiches were barbecue sauce and ranch. I usually just did ranch, but I would also occasionally do barbecue sauce too. I loved doing that. I also discovered that chicken nuggets dipped in gravy is pretty good. I'm not sure why I came up with those combinations, but it was fun. Sometimes we would do pancakes or breakfast sandwiches for breakfast too. I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of those meals, but they were fine. I'm not usually much of a breakfast person, but I enjoy breakfast foods at times. It probably depends on my mood and what kind of breakfast food. I enjoy some breakfast foods more than others. We usually did hamburgers on Wednesday for lunch, and we called it Cowboy Wednesday because the staff girls who worked in the dining hall got to wear cowboy hats. I definitely enjoyed that a lot. That was a highlight for sure. I don't think there was a specific meaning or reason behind it. I think it was more of just for fun. I had to borrow a hat a couple of times, but then I got an American colored one from the store the first of the 2 times I went home for the weekend, which was at the end of June. The third and final thing I want to talk about today are what my favorite jobs / tasks were from over the summer. I'm not sure why, but I oddly enjoyed cleaning bathrooms. I also enjoyed sweeping, mopping, wiping tables and chairs in the dining hall after meals, refilling pitchers during meals, working in the canteen. Sometimes I enjoyed helping restock the camp store. I only restocked the camp store I think 2 or 3 times though. It usually didn't take too long to clean the bathrooms in the dining hall, since there were only 2 bathrooms and they were single occupant bathrooms as opposed to multiple stalls. All I really had to do when cleaning those bathrooms was cleaning the toilet bowls and surfaces, lid, handle, seat, sides, etc. Cleaning the sinks and mirrors, taking out and replacing the trash bags, sweeping, restocking, and then mopping if needed. It was pretty simple, and I think it maybe only took about 15 to 20 minutes to do both bathrooms, with the exception of mopping. Sometimes I did the mopping in the bathrooms, and sometimes other people would mop them. They didn't usually need to be mopped every day, though. It would just depend on how dirty the floors were. As far as jobs I didn't enjoy as much, I think doing the showers was probably one I didn't particularly enjoy. It was okay, but it was hard when they were orange and we had to really scrub at them. The reason they were orange a lot was because of the water at the camp. Other jobs I enjoyed were restocking the spoons and straws in the canteen, being a runner sometimes during the evening canteen time, which just means getting ice cream, popcorn, slushies, etc., cleaning other toilets, sinks, mirrors. Sometimes I enjoyed cleaning windows in the dining hall, and I also enjoyed being a cashier in the canteen in the afternoons. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please follow, leave a comment, and a review of my podcast if you haven't already, and please follow my podcast page on Facebook so you never miss an update. If you have any verses you'd like me to read on a future episode, or if you have any topics you'd like me to talk about, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org, send me a message on my podcast page on Facebook, or a voice message through the link in the show notes, and I will get back to you when I can. Hope you tune in next week for the 6th and final bonus episode.